The things that I see reoccurring in the community is a lack of communication in the homes.
Got into fights every year since the 6th grade.
The lack of parenting skills, because we have a lot of young men and young females that are growing up in an environment where the parents are young themselves.
I never had a father around.
I notice a lot of our young people are experimenting with a lot of drugs now, more so than ever.
There's an epidemic of neglect in our communities. Good kids with the potential to be great are being neglected, ignored, and allowed to find their way to gangs, drugs, and violence.
Because I'm trying to prepare you guys so when you do walk up out of Northwest High School, you have some type of foundation. I might not have all the answers, but I can give you guys something to get you started.
But there is hope. Hope with the man. This man who's been where these kids are and worse.
When I sat in prison, that was the loneliest 4 years of my life. But when that jail cell shut that door on us, after a wreck or whatever, and it's late at night, and the reality set in, you still got 365 more days to go, times 3.
David Gilkey has found his way back, and now his passion is helping today's youth find their way.
I would play football at Northwest. You know, I had some times in the school, at times when I got in trouble. But it kind of started my senior year. I started experimenting with marijuana and drinking a little bit, and it carried on over to college. And I ended up getting kicked out of college my junior year and ended up running the streets of Wichita. In 1985, I started experimenting with crack cocaine and ended up being addicted to it for 16 years. And it led me down a road of destruction. I ended up going to jail, prison. I have 10 drug case felonies, been in 2 drug busts, you know, homeless. It changed, it devastated my life. You know, I had a career of playing football.
But David eventually got his act together and got his life back. Today he works in schools, churches, and youth centers to help kids stay on the right path, away from gangs, away from drugs, and away from violence.
A young man that was walking down the hallway, and I ran into him and said, "Where are you going?" He says, "Well, I'm getting ready to drop out." He was a junior. I said, "No, there's no need for that. Let's sit down, see what our transcript looks like." We sat down, David, myself, and this young man, and looked at his transcript and decided, you know, he can still graduate. To make a long story short, that young man is still in college today.
2 weeks ago, I called David in, and we had a parent who had found a bunch of gang drawings in her child's room. And I feel like this student was just starting to get involved, and David spent about 2 hours talking to her and her son. And after 2 hours, when the student left my office, he gave his mom a hug, he kissed her twice on the cheek, he was crying. He comes in every week now on Friday and says, "When is Mr. Gilkey's group?" He's in there in group now. He's dressing different, he's not wearing his gang attire. I mean, I feel like he's been pulled back from the brink.
He meets with the young men every Wednesday, but it doesn't stop on Wednesday.
Because if you go to jail, guess what happens? You got that on your record.
Brings in different speakers. Sometimes he brings in a parole officer, sometimes he'll bring in a banker, sometimes he brings in successful businessmen, sometimes he brings in people that have been in prison. He tries to cover all the different topics that a young man will face in his life.
And as they stay in the program, the longer they stay in, and the longer I bring in speakers and people speaking life back into them, and take them on college tours, expose them to things that they probably would never be exposed to. Once I show them that there's another way of living, there is positive people in the community that care about them, then you can gradually see the change. Pretty soon the F's will turn into D's, D's turn into C's. Before you know it, you have a 2.0 and above student looking at you, you know, with dreams now, with goals, to where at the beginning they didn't even care.
I mean, if it wasn't for Gilkey, we wouldn't even be right here right now. If it wasn't from him, I wouldn't even have the grades that I had.
For my future, I see that whatever I'm going to be, which is a physical therapist, I mean, he's put that into my heart that I can do that.
I got into fights every year since the 6th grade. Now, ain't got in a fight this year. It's doing a lot better for my program.
If we had more organizations like this, like Mr. Gilkey's organization, I think we wouldn't have as many people as we do in the juvenile system right now. I think I think a lot of things would be different. I think a lot of things would be different. I think it'd be a lot better.
College tour coming up.
David Gilkey and his proven positive program is available now for your school, your church, or your group. Please contact David today at 316-312-5705 or email him at davidgilkey2@hotmail.com. David's program is endorsed by the Urban League of Kansas and a host of happy kids, caring teachers, and grateful parents.
It'd be great to have a guy like David in every high school.
It really inspired me. That's why I just want to say hey and thank you.
Oh, no problem. How's your grades doing?
Oh, they're doing better.
Good.
I went from D's and F's to C's, and then I went to A's, B's, and C's.
Keep up the good work.
Thanks.
I want to make sure I see you walk across that stage.
I will.
With an invitation.
I will.
All right, sir.